into an interesting aspect of ASAP Rocky's trial. ASAP Rocky is a pretty popular hip hop artist, and he's currently on trial for some kind of a gun assault charge. And an interesting thing that came out of the recent, the recent, there was a recent situation. If I can pull up the screen here, where are you at? There we go. I found it. So there was something that happened that was kind of interesting. There were during cross examination during the trial. ASAP Rocky's attorney used the N word as a part of his cross examination process to the defendant,
It's terrible.
whose name is ASAP Relly, and ASAP Rocky didn't like the fact that the word was used. So he appealed to the judge that the word not be used in full. And the judge was like, hey man, talk to your counsel. You can't just speak out of turn in court like that. And so Ace, and then so he spoke to the attorney, and then the attorney, said something, and then the judge was like, okay, from now on, we're not going to use the full word. We're just going to say N word. So that was an interesting tidbit that came out of this situation. ASAP Rocky being uncomfortable with the use of the word during cross examination in the trial, even though the use of the word is being used factually to recount things that have happened that led up to this situation. So this says ASAP Rocky appears to ask court to refrain from using N word during trial. ASAP Rocky is currently on trial for allegedly shooting at his former associate ASAP Relly in 2021. The rapper insists that the gun allegedly seen in security footage of the run-in was simply a prop gun unable to shoot real bullets. Relly, on the other hand, alleges that it was definitely a real gun. He also alleges that his life has changed drastically for the worse in the years since the incident and now includes death threats, snitch accusations, and more. In court yesterday, Relly took the stand once again, where he was questioned by Rocky's lawyer about some text messages. At one point, the lawyer said the N word, prompting Rocky to interject. Your Honor, can we refrain from, he said before the judge cut him off and told him to speak to his counsel, per legal reporter Megan Cuniff. From there, the judge told everyone to just say N word moving forward. So here is some sound of this exchange.
You did remember seeing a message yesterday on text that you sent to your friend Jessica Benega saying, November 7th, 2021, saying, I want to get this nigga's money, right? Remember seeing that yesterday?
Yeah, that was after the shooting.
Obviously, right? You saw that.
Yeah, correct.
And this nigga, and you're talking about was Rocky, right?
I mean, I could be dead.
I didn't ask you.
Yeah, I mean, that's obvious,
right?
Obvious.
John, can we refrain
Talk to Mr. Sleep. This is for all counsel. If there's any exhibit or any recording that has the N word, I want you in court to say N word. I don't want you to say what
it says.
What it said. It's the N word.
I prefer that too.
From now on.
Just reading little.
I know. Don't anymore. Just you say N word. And that applies to everything.
There you go. The article goes on to say this is far from all that happened in court yesterday, as at one point, Relly also had an outburst directed at Rocky's lawyer. Why are you showing my Instagram? I'm already getting death threats, Relly asked at the time. People threatening my daughter, like, what's going on here? Because you're saying I'm an extortionist, you're putting my life on. This is getting really annoying. What does this have to do with the case? The judge proceeded to call a recess, and Relly called out Rocky for staring at him, according to Rolling Stone reporter Nancy Dillon. Rihanna also made a rare appearance in court for the second time yesterday, supporting her long-term partner from the front row. TMZ reported that she looked serious but more relaxed than she did the day prior. She sported a white top along with a pair of large gold hoop earrings, and a courtroom sketch of the songstress quickly began to make its rounds online. So there you go. ASAP Rocky decided to check the court on the use of the N-word during this ongoing trial. What do you think about that?
I feel like his initial reaction is I feel like his reaction was genuine. Just me hearing him say, because I think that guy was having a little too much fun with it. To be honest, I think
It's
it was
his, but it's his lawyer though. That's the
I think
thing.
he was having too much fun with the word. He's like, I'm just gonna go ahead and say this, and this is legal record. This is evidence. So I'm in the clear. I get my N-word pass, and so if he just said the quote, I would have been like, okay, cool. But then he doubled down and then turned around and said, "And this nigga." Hey man, now you're taking it too far. But that's straight out of Chappelle's skit, if you ask me, man. A skit that's more or less, when somebody uses a free N-word pass or something like that, because that's all he was doing. Because he would have kept going. Yeah, for him to interrupt his own lawyer though, hey man, that must mean he's a good lawyer if he's running around throwing an N-word around like that. So I guess he got the best attorney in town. But on all jokes aside, man, I really feel as though that, whenever I hear other people use it, people that are, not black, for lack of better words. All right. Whenever I hear people use that initial, I don't know where, it was definitely trained for sure. But that initial emotion that I get, it comes up and I get a little alert. But then I have to remind myself that I don't give a damn. And that it's just a word and whatever. So everybody doesn't have that. A lot of people, when they get that alert, they act on it. And I take ASAP as no different from that. Even though he uses it in a derogatory way, it sounds like he used it in a derogatory way in this alleged crime. I don't know who was talking or where they were talking, but yeah, he uses it in a degrading way. His music, at least the ones that I heard of before, he talks in a degrading way about our own people. So yeah, man, to me it's a little it's part of that hypocritical stuff that goes on with people that are using the N-word in their music to defile and defame our own. And then when they hear other people use that word, in this case legally, they get offended with that use. But even in your own lyrics, I'm pretty sure he's talked about unaliving people in our own community. So which one's more offensive, So in my opinion, to me, I would have laughed it off with my lawyer, in the sense that, not laughed it off with him. I would have laughed it off like, man, this guy really took this opportunity to use the N-word as many times as he want. I don't think I would have did that interjection. But I guess shout out to the judge for real boondoxy and saying no more N-words for the rest of this trial. But what are your thoughts, man, on ASAP Rocky getting upset with his own lawyer, of all people, for dropping the N-bomb in the middle of trial?
My first thought was, I wonder if he would have done that if his attorney was black. I think that's a valid question.
Mm-hmm.
I think optically, this looks like it makes sense because his lawyer is a white man.
Mm-hmm.
But I wonder whether he would have done the same thing if his lawyer was black. I'm just curious, because I think part of his motivation to speak up was because of what it looked like optically, how it looks, therefore how it feels, because his attorney is a white man saying this.
Mm-hmm.
But moreover, I'm not buying his objection. I'm not buying it. I'm sorry. I'm not buying it. I really do think that we need to get on one accord with how we want to act when it comes to this word. I'm getting tired of this, honestly. Like, this is a silly conversation. Well, I brought it up on the channel. I'm not, but I think overall the reaction to the use of the word is what I'm saying. To me, it's become very silly.
Mm-hmm.
So, I went to Florida State University, a majority white university, and ASAP Rocky came onto the scene while I was in college. And I was around a lot of white people. I went to a lot of majority white events. I was in a lot of majority white parties and households while I was in college. And a lot of white people listened to a lot of ASAP Rocky.
Yes, it did.
And now, did I see them uttering the word while I was present? No. A lot
Sometimes
of them, a lot, a lot of them knew better than to do it while I was there. Do I believe that they were saying the word when I wasn't there or when there were no black people present? 1000%. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
My point is, ASAP Rocky is a part of the commodification of that word. Like, in my opinion, ASAP Rocky's generation of rappers, the early 30-year-olds, he's in the same cohort as Drake, Big Sean, Meek Mill, Kendrick, J. Cole, Wale. They're all around the same age, those guys. Like, that generation, in my opinion, and a little bit Lil Wayne too, they're a part of the generation of hip-hop artists who commodified the use of that word, who turned it into a product. Because those, like ASAP Rocky, to me, is a crossover mainstream rapper. Like I said, I spent a lot of time in college going to places that were majority white crowds, majority white parties, majority white club events, hanging around white people, and they listened to a lot of ASAP Rocky. They listened to all of his albums, they knew all the lyrics, they knew the words, they were fans of his music. So him being a part of the generation of artists that was commodifying the use of that word as they became mainstream artists, they're a part of why I believe the use of the word, the invocation of it has become so confusing. Because he is the same person who will then become uncomfortable if the word is said by a non-black person in a specific context. But he was also at the same time, in my opinion, a part of the proliferation of the word to a wider audience to commodify it culturally. So I kind of feel like in that instance, he's trying to have it both ways. Similar to the way Meek Mill tries to have it both ways when he says the music industry profits off of ignorance, but then goes and makes ignorant music. You're trying to have it both ways, bro. You're speaking cogently to an intelligent audience, talking about how the music industry steers artists in the direction of making ignorant music because it profits off of that. And you're speaking on that in the sense that it's wrong that this happens. Yet, despite the fact that contextually you're speaking as though this is the wrong thing to be a part of and do, you're still actively a part of the ecosystem that makes that very type of music. So you want to complain about it, but then you also want to benefit from it. You're trying to dip your toes in both sands and have your cake and eat it too. So I understand why ASAP did it, because his life is on the line here, or at least a particular piece of it. He's fighting for his name. He doesn't want to go to prison or jail. He doesn't want to be found guilty. He's on trial. So I get that, within that particular circumstance, in that environment, the knee-jerk reaction to say, hey, can we not do that? He's kind of in an environment right now where he wants to keep everything as possible above board because he's looking at his freedom being put at risk. But he also is a part of what proliferated that word, in my opinion. That's how I see it. I mean, I experienced it firsthand. When I was in college, both undergrad and grad school, I actually knew more white people who listened to ASAP Rocky than black people. I don't know if that's your experience, but that was mine. And the word is flying all over the place in his music, all over the place. So you're commodifying this word and packaging it to an audience, but then trying to dictate how that audience can take part in your music. I feel like that's hypocritical. In my opinion, that's hypocritical. And that is a part of what has made the use and the invocation of that word to me so confusing. And is why I decided to stop using it myself, because it's just ridiculous. It's become a sideshow. It's a circus. The way we get mad at this word is, even though our cultural heroes sell it to everybody else. They do. They sell it to everybody else. So, it's on the one hand, it's understandable because, like I said, he wants to be a free man. He ain't trying to be found guilty. He doesn't want to become incarcerated or be penalized in the eyes of the law in any kind of way that he would be penalized if this were to work against him. So that is kind of going to motivate him to want to keep everything above board in a certain way. But at the same time, I kind of look at you and I say, bro, you're part of the reason that your lawyer is using this word to me. And I mean, A$AP Rocky, he's no stranger to this. I mean, he's performed at music festival after music festival,
Exactly.
concert venue after concert venue.
Exactly.
A lot of these events are attended by people that are majority not people who look like him.
Exactly.
And he's not editing the word out. He's using it all over the place.
Yep.
So where is your responsibility in this, A$AP Rocky? Because, he's been at Rolling Loud. He's been at some music festival. So I just looked this up recently, and he performed at Rolling Loud in the States, which that's standard issue. But then there's also international Rolling Loud editions. So he attended 2024 Rolling Loud in Thailand. I'm going to bet he used the N-word while he was performing. And I'm going to guess that the majority of the people there were not black if he's in Thailand. He also performed at a music festival called MDL Beast Soundstorm, which is an event in Saudi Arabia. Once again, I'm going to guess he wasn't editing himself, and I'm going to guess that the majority of the people in attendance at this thing in Saudi Arabia were not black. He also performed at another music festival called Sziget. Sziget is spelled Sziget. Sziget or Zyget Festival. I had to look this up because I didn't even know what it was. But Sziget Festival is one of the largest music and cultural festivals in Europe. It is held every August in northern Budapest. According to Wikipedia there. So I'm going to once again guess that while he's performing in Budapest, he is not editing himself, and most of the people there are not black. So people like him need to take inventory on themselves. I believe in this instance, he was being a hypocrite, even though I can understand his objection because it's a sensitive time and he does not want to be rid of any freedoms that he might be able to enjoy because of what might happen if he's found guilty. So it's understandable because he wants to maintain a particular kind of image. But at the end of the day, he is largely responsible for this. And the chickens are eventually going to come home to roost with a lot of these rappers who are actively a part of commodifying this word, but then want to be a part of the chorus of boos who get bent out of shape when the same people that they commodified and packaged the word to decide that they want to actually use the word that you sold to them. So that's pretty much how I see it. I get his objection, but I kind of feel like he needs to take a seat because he is a part of the generation of rappers that are mostly responsible for other people feeling as though they are entitled to the use of that word.
I feel that, but to me, just hearing the audio, I don't know if I heard it correctly, but it sounded like he was reading a quote, and he drops the slur in there, but then he closed the quote, but then he proceeded with his question of, so this slur,
right,
and this slur, using the slur, and I would feel as though, me personally, being more professional, you wouldn't say, okay, so this slur. Right. So that's like if there's a situation where somebody calls somebody a bitch, you know what I'm saying? And then they do the quote and they say, this bitch. And then the follow-up question, so this bitch you're talking about.
But I kind of feel, but I kind of feel like in legal proceedings,
you got to do that.
Attorneys typically don't take liberties. So like what attorneys are going to do is they are going to just be as uncomfortable and as uncomfortable and as cringe as it may be. The general practice for attorneys is, I'm going to read this as is.
Oh, yeah, you can read it as is because it is a follow-up question.
Yeah.
to take the slur. That's what I'm saying. So after I read this thing where it was a domestic dispute and this guy called this woman a B word. So instead of calling this woman by Mrs. Johnson, you say, so this bitch you're talking about. Why would you ask them, why would you'd want to why not call him Mr. Adams or Mr. Salsa? Why I gotta double down and use the M-word?
I don't know. I'm mostly the only thing about that I hear what you're saying, but it's his own attorney.
I know, I get it. Yeah,
I'm confused. Like it wasn't the other guy. It's your attorney. So
no, I get it. Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, that's what I'm saying. He's one of the best in New York for a reason, and he likes to use the word. And so, hey man, I get it, man. I don't know why his own lawyer would do that. That's what I'm saying. I felt like as though that lawyer had a free N-word pass. I'm reading a document as if somebody was like reading something in class or reading something like that, and it's literally a quote, and they can use the slur freely. They would do that, and I think that and that's another thing. It's kind of like growing up, and I'm pretty sure we've either talked about it or whatever with Fat Joe or whatever at some point. But I know at some point on this show, I've mentioned that back in school, man, where we're dealing with the Hispanic community, and they felt as though they were down enough to use the N-word freely, even though typically by the book. You guys aren't really N-words. So
it was definitely understood that they can say it.
But it was kind of a thing where they can say it and they would say it, but there's something about somebody that feels as though them saying it makes them more valid. They say it more. We covered the same thing when we was talking about J. Cole, when there's there's this identity thing that he deals with, but he's got the past to say it. So he says it a little too much. He says it more than the average person. It's like he gets a good itch off of it or whatever, it's a good scratch off that itch. Just because he's saying the N-word so much, it makes you sound more valid, makes you sound more tough. I've seen people that got the N-word pass that use it in every sentence because they got the pass. And it's just like, hey, look, I know you got the pass, all right? But, you're supposed to use it like, it's kind of like salt, Yeah, you can use it to spice up a sentence, but too much of it, it's not edible. And so, you deal with people that get the N-word pass and they just go a little hog wild. I don't blame them, man. You throw that on in a sentence, man, it gets a little spicier. So whenever somebody gets the N-word pass, man, I feel as though they can't help themselves, man. They just get a little too excited. And I felt like his lawyer just got a little too excited in that moment. But I hear your point 1,000% though on the commodification of his of him using that. And I was gonna bring that up, bro. Him at music festivals, and that crowd looks like it's a white Christmas out there, bro. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, bro. It's just nothing but white people with their shirts off. You know what I'm saying? White girls on LSD, and they're going insane in the crowd, and they love it. And they're saying, and when he stops and pauses, those people are chanting every word, and they're not.
I really don't think that he has an objection to the use of the word like that. Mm-hmm. I only think that he did that because he's on trial. That's it. I believe that it is well within the wheelhouse that A$AP Rocky has white friends who uses the word around him.
I think so.
Yeah. So the only reason why he's objecting in this case is because he wants to maintain a certain level of elegance with respect to this situation, I guess. That's the only thing that can make sense to me, because I think he's one of these freewheeling people who doesn't care and doesn't take the use of the word seriously like that. He doesn't care.
I think I take A$AP for a guy that has white friends that use the N-word, but if it's a white guy he don't know, he might get offended. I take him for that guy because this guy's down, he's cool, so he can use that, man. It's like, I know him. But if it's just some regular guy and he uses the N-word, and he's gonna be looking at that person sideways, I take A$AP for that kind of guy. But then again, I don't, but with this word where and that's why I said this is too much science. You hear all this talk, this is too much science. So the best thing I said is to overall not give a damn. So I just stopped caring. And when I hear it, like, and that's why I said when my initial statement is when I hear it, that knee-jerk reaction, hey man, if you hit my knee with something, my foot gonna feel like it's gonna want to move. But now that I don't have time for that, and it's bigger fish to fry, then whenever somebody hits me with that, instead of having my knee pop off the table, I'm cognitively aware that this is something that they're either using to try to piss me off, or they're so whatever that they, or they think so less of my people, or whatever the context could be. I just go, hey, look, I'm not going there. I choose not to. And then whatever, because it's just way too much behind it. It's way too much science, and they got overcomplicated, if you ask me.
It did.
And it's gotten overcomplicated in our own community, where there's people that fight amongst each other, or whether they can use it in-house or our house, and that's what I'm saying. That's just too much politics. So I just choose to not give a damn. You want to use it, fine. If you don't want to use it, fine. If somebody else outside our culture uses it, fine. I got bigger fish to fry. So, but nothing stops that initial reaction. So I get where he's coming from. I get where other people are coming from. But I think it's just best for our people to let this be water under our bridge, man, and get the hell over it, honestly.
Yeah, well, I don't think we have another choice, because I got news for anybody out there. They're using the word. if you did not know this, these people are using the word. The best that you can hope for is that they have enough respect for you as a human that they don't use it in front of you. Because trust me, they are not editing themselves out when they're listening to all of this music. They're not. And if they are around their tribe attending large events like music festivals, they're using it there too. So I think people in our community are affronted with the very knowledge that the word is being used by people who aren't from the community. Mm-hmm. And although I understand being offended by that very knowledge, you have to also understand who's responsible for that. And there is some responsibility to be had for this. It didn't just start happening out of nowhere. The word literally became a commercial product that was commodified, packaged, and sold as part of music. And that music is sold to a worldwide audience, people who are not a part of this community. So I don't know what you expect people to do. It's human nature that if anyone consumes anything, they're going to want to actively participate in it. The analogy that I use is, if the NBA were to allow me to spend money on jerseys and tickets and mugs and other merch and paraphernalia, but if I actually went to try and buy a basketball to physically go play basketball, if the NBA police showed up and were like, you can't really play, we'll let you spend your money on this stuff, but you can't actually play the sport. I'm going to be like, how the hell are you going to tell me I can't play this sport, but you're going to let me spend all my money on this? This is ridiculous. Mm-hmm. If you're going to let me spend all my money, then I'm going to also play it. And I feel like this is the same thing with this music stuff. These people are spending this money. These people are spending the money to get these tickets to go to these music festivals. These aren't free concerts. It's not a free event. They're streaming the music because people don't buy music anymore. They're streaming the music. They're buying the stuff. They're supporting you. And you're using the word all over the place to a mass audience. But then we're also trying to be like policing how and when the word can be applied and all of this kind of stuff. So I kind of feel like it's become too convoluted. I'm down with all of the people who are old school with it. Like, I don't really like the fact that anybody who's not black uses it. That's more of the school of thought that I'm on, but I know the world for what it is, and I see how things have become. And like you, I no longer get mad anymore. Because I get the genesis of it. I know where it came from. Mm-hmm. So if I have an understanding of where it came from, I can't in good conscience get mad about it. I know why it's happening. Mm-hmm. So I feel as though he's a part of that. And I witnessed it I was in college for a combined 9 years, 4 years undergrad, 3 years grad school. So I went to college for a total of 7 years. I've seen it, man. White people love them some A$AP Rocky. Trust me.
Yeah, they did.
And them people who are attending all of these music festivals, they love them some A$AP Rocky, and the majority of them are not black. So we need to pick and choose our level of outrage when it comes to the use of this word. Just like we need to pick and choose our level of outrage when it comes to several other subjects that we talk about, particularly here on this channel. But I do think that he was a part of that. So although I am understanding, because no one wants their freedom to be at risk, I also think that if he weren't on trial, he wouldn't have said anything. I also think that he has white friends who say it around him, and he don't be tripping like that. So he's kind of cherry picking when to be offended by the use of that word, which, by the way, was his own words, because the lawyer was reading his own words. So.
Yeah, man. So that's what I'm saying. So we'll see what goes on with ASAP, him going against his own lawyer. We'll see if that does him any well. But yeah, man, I would have just pulled him to the side and be like, "Hey, bro, chill on that." Yeah. But maybe this was his way of sparking sympathy to the jury. Hey, I'm being victimized here. You guys are offending me with my own words.
Hey man, I have had an attorney before for a legal matter. They go over everything with you. Mm-hmm. So, you know, I find it hard to believe he didn't know his attorney was going to do this. I find that very hard to believe. I just can't see that. But even if he didn't, there's also, like, you know, pre-trial meetings. You're sitting down with your attorney. You guys are going over everything, because this is a big deal, this trial. Mm-hmm. I don't think his attorney is going to, I don't think there's going to be an oversight in terms of him relaying the message. Hey, I'm going to do this. Are you okay with it? And then at that point, Rocky could have been like, "No, I'm not comfortable with that." My point is, I just find it hard to believe that nobody knew, or that no one was it was just total lack of preparedness going in, that this was something that was going to happen. So I kind of feel like it was spur of the moment in that very moment, he decided, I'm not okay with this, and I'm going to say something.
That's fair. And I think next time I use something like on the record, like whether it's a slur or a derogatory term towards somebody, and, you know, I'm actually quoting them, and they say whatever they said. And I was like, wait a second, this cunt you're talking about. Is that them over there? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm gonna do this too, and see how that flies. Hey man, I'm just quoting what they said. Like, what's the big deal? Don't come at me. But that's funny, man. That belongs in the skit, man. I got a bigger laugh out of that than being tighten up ASAP. Golly.
Yeah. Good luck, bro. That definitely does look like it was a skit from Chappelle's show.
That's a skit, bro.
It is, yeah. But yeah, I mean, I've never really had issues with ASAP. You know, he's a rapper. He's just another rapper. So, you know, I hope that things work out in his favor. Good luck. You know, he's not running crazy, you know, doing crazy stuff. So I got no reason to see his downfall. I hope things work out in his favor, but he, in my opinion, is a part of the reason why his lawyer was using the word like that. And you know, that's just how I see it, man.
And my bad. I didn't mean to use the C word. That's the first time I used the C word on this podcast. But if there's any C words out there that I offended, that's my fault. My bad.
That was funny.